that's a terrible sound. Can we not? Thank you. Alright, we are on the way back from Malta. Taking a little bit of flak damage here, just to kind of damage the fleet. Some people are dropping their bombs to make it look like they don't have ordnance, but I told most people they didn't need to worry about it because, you know, we have internal bomb bays, so you really can't tell if somebody has their bombs on or not. On some of the previous missions, though, old habits die hard, so a lot of people just decided to drop their bombs anyway. The flak did a pretty good job with us, kind of giving us a little bit of random damage throughout the formation. You can see, a couple of smoky engines, a couple people died, a couple people are leaking water. I think we had one death, and he just respawned immediately, and he was able to make it through the flak field the second time around. So what we like to do is we like to spawn the aircraft over an area of enemy flak at low altitude to just kind of make it a bit of a gauntlet run. And the flak just sort of gives everybody a random amount of business, and just sort of peppers your plane up a little bit. And the flak puffs are pretty nice for just kind of distributing some random damage. They cause a lot of leaks. They cause a lot of issues with fuel and water and oil, and they can kind of perforate the plane a little bit. So it's typically non-fatal damage unless it's like really heavily sustained. And so it makes a very good random damage distributor among the fleet. And this is just designed to make us look a little haggard. And here I am kind of making a little bit of a turn because I didn't receive any damage, and so I'm kind of trying to delay a little bit over the flak to see if I could potentially take any extra damage. And it doesn't look like I'm going to, so now I'm just joining onto final approach here. And another thing that we've been doing, kind of as part of just an organizational method and a pilot training meta, because half of these events, half of the purpose here is to help pilots learn and to help pilots, kind of figure out sim. And, it's just a fun place to learn how to take off, how to land, how to fly in formation, and how to work as a team. And so I try to build these missions as friendly as possible for a new pilot. And part of that is, oh no, that's not ideal. Part of that is going to be, learning how to fly a proper pattern. And I could sit here and talk to you guys all day about upwinds and crosswinds and downwinds and base turns and doglegs and turns to final. But it really doesn't do a lot of good unless you see an example. All the technical jargon isn't really all that helpful, especially to, people like me who are visual learners, and they kind of, you can explain it to me 100 times, but you show it to me once, and I got it. So, just kind of trying to be cognizant of the different learning methods that are out there. One thing that I've been doing from a design perspective when I build these missions is really trying to put something in place to help demonstrate to others what we want to do in a passive way. So it's not necessarily going to punish you for not doing it, but it will help to show you what we're after. And one of those tools has been to put some AI into a nice bomber left-hand turn rectangular pattern. And so we've got some AI bombers. So some of these guys are players and some of these guys are AI. But we're all basically finding our way into the pattern with a very simple instruction to the players. I'm just telling the players, hey, go towards the airport, go find an AI, and go join up with them. And that AI will lead you around the pattern and will bring you onto the final approach course. So you don't have to worry about finding the airport. You don't have to worry about finding the runway. You don't have to worry about when to descend and when to make your turns. The AI will do it for you, and they will do it for you perfectly. All you have to do is find an AI and latch onto him. And if you follow the AI, you will intrinsically fly a perfect pattern. And that's how we can kind of organize ourselves on final. That's how we can kind of like try to start achieving some decent spacing and kind of passively teach everybody a little bit of airport traffic pattern procedures and whatnot, because it is a good real life organizational method for bringing a massive aircraft into an airfield and finding the spacing on final. That sucks. It's gonna be an oof from me, dog. Pretty sure that's where I put the deer too. There's a deer down there, and I'm pretty sure we now have venison. Whoa, hello. So another thing that we've been really trying to get people to do is to avoid the use of brakes on the airfield. And a lot of people ask me why. Hey, look, there's the deer. Oh, I missed him. I've been trying to avoid the use of brakes on the airfield. And that is for the purposes of compression. If you get down onto the runway and you touch down and you slam on your brakes, and the person behind you is not able to stop in time, they have no choice but to collide into the back of you, or or to clip through you. So you can see here, I'm kind of like keeping my speed, and as I get my speed under control, I'm just sort of like veering off the runway slowly. Instead of like coming to a complete stop and making a 90-degree turn off the runway, I kind of stay on the runway until I got my speed under control, and then I just sort of slowly exit the runway off to one side. Instead of slamming on my brakes, I sort of coast to slower speeds until I get my speeds under control. And once you get slow enough, you'll regain directional input, and you can very easily steer yourself just a little bit off the runway. And I tried to plant myself over here and kind of watch some people fly, but this was a kind of a learning lesson for me, that when I park, I need to go down to that end of the runway so I can sort of see everybody else coming in and landing a little bit easier. So on the next replay, I end up taking a parking position down there by that little bunker, and I get a better seat for the landing. But this was our first attempt at landing, and I think everybody did a much better job the second time around. That was a solid landing right there. Here comes another solid. That's a solid plant. People are really doing a good job flying these planes. And the thing is, like, you gotta understand, a lot of these pilots that you're seeing here, not only are they new to this aircraft in general and maybe have never even flown this aircraft before, but they're also new to sim. So this is a very obscure aircraft being flown in a very obscure game mode in a very difficult situation. There's a lot of wind here. Like, I don't know if you guys can see the smoke there, but that smoke is reacting to the wind. We've injected wind into these scenarios, and really up to the challenge. These are small airfields, unprepared airfields in some cases. There's a lot of obstacles, there's a lot of traffic, there's a lot of obscuration, there's wind to deal with. You're in a foreign aircraft with, unusual parameters that you're not, accustomed to, and you're flying with, 50 other people with the pressure of trying not to mess up. So, the fact that these guys are greasing these landings like this, something to feel good about. I mean, all these guys really need to pat themselves on the back, because this is a bunch of strangers getting on together and just doing the best they can. And they're doing a hell of a job at it. So, definitely pretty proud of everybody for the performances today. And these events are just getting better and better, honestly. And I can't wait to see what else we can do.